Hi, welcome to the podcast. My name is Caroline Vane, and this is Unrelatable. And I'm also very sorry if you can see my half-painted feet. My intention was not to have those out today, but it's a little hot, and I also was told I have to take the blanket off that I'm wearing. So, nice to see everyone. This is Yasmeen Golden,
Hi.
a very good friend of mine, and a fellow...
I was literally like, I cringe waiting for you to hear that out of your mouth. I was like, how's she going to say that?
Yeah, well, I guess basically the best way to word it is...
I still hate hearing it, but go ahead.
I don't like talking about it either. But anyways, here we are. We both went through cancer, and we both connected over that. And interestingly enough, like I've mentioned many times, these crazy traumas that are brought to you completely randomly are... you know, a big way to bring friendship into your life. And some of my best friends I've met through the craziness of life and the unexpected twists and turns of life. So here we are.
Yes, here we are.
That was a good way of saying it, though.
Against our will, here we
Yeah,
are.
exactly.
But good things came from it.
But alive.
But very much alive.
Yeah.
Like, I would say not just living. Or
No.
not just, like, alive, but, like, living.
Living.
Yeah.
Except you get to travel way more than me, because I have to go sit at a desk, unfortunately.
You know, we can talk about that, but go travel.
Fortunately enough, I have something
But,
called
like,
PTO,
leave your job.
which is also known as paid time off, which you get allocated.
I think they owe you cancer survivor PTO. Like, I deserve more PTO than everybody else. I need to leave.
TBH, I would agree with that. I do think that
I think my life is feels shorter than you guys now, and I should go on vacation.
Yeah. No, I get that. I do think for the sake of potentially, like, my boss watching this, like,
It's not personal, boss.
Yeah, no, it's not personal at all. I appreciate the job.
She didn't say it. I said it.
Yeah, you said it. After going through, though, like, the experience, I think for me, as someone that, like, is on and, like, working, like, I do have a hard time just, like, picking up and going on vacation and relaxing. Like,
yeah,
we just had a long weekend, and instead of, like, going to the beach and relaxing, I literally had a producer fly out to LA. I had, like, a songwriter friend of mine, another producer, drive out, a few friends of mine that I work on other projects with, and everyone came out and we're just, like, working all weekend. And then come Monday or Tuesday when I'm back at work, I'm like, why does my body hurt and why am I tired? I just went on vacation. And my therapist was like, yeah, no, you didn't. You worked all weekend.
Yeah, you didn't.
So
no vacation.
I do think that for me, like, the one thing I do need to do besides going on Instagram and seeing you at a beach while I'm sitting at my desk is I need to find ways to actually relax that doesn't involve a phone, social media, YouTube, Netflix, Hulu.
Yeah, see, the thing is with me is, like, that's not how I relax.
Yeah,
like,
but see, that's
being
not
on
really
my phone.
relaxing.
I hate TV. I hate Netflix. Like, if I get into a Netflix show, I have to binge it. It's over for me.
Yeah.
Like, I am completely consumed. So I take myself away from that unless I get trapped, of course. Somebody turns something on, then I'm, like, hooked. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like, that's not my way of relaxing. Like, I want to chuck my phone. I get a book. I, like, have a meditation app. I will go outside. I'll go on a walk. Like, that is my only way of relaxing, because I feel like those ways of relaxing that I used to have, like, just drained me, and it was so consuming for my brain space.
Yeah,
like,
I do think that, like, when there are those times, like, there was one time where I was, like, really overworked, like, the last few weeks, and I think, like, in the moment it feels really good because I feel like I'm doing something and I'm making progress, and all the things that I'm doing work-wise I'm doing with people that I care about and people that I love, and they're good friends of mine, and I'm like, we're doing things, we're moving, like, it's great. But I hit walls, and I get to this point where it's like 8 p.m. on, like, a Wednesday, and I'm in bed, and I'm like, my head hurts, like, I can't even look at my phone.
So, but that has a lot to do with our level of tired being way higher than everybody else, and our threshold for day-to-day things is way under everybody else's.
Yeah, I mean, I did actually talk on the podcast about the jar of marbles, and you have a full jar every morning, and for us, like, small activities over the course of the real, like, the 2 years of healing, which are kind of the real deal years of, like, where it really is essential.
I would say it's 5. Like, I would say it's more 3 to 5.
I agree for sure.
Yeah, but the 2 is where you really feel like you're, like, a tornado wreck.
Well, the thing is, I do think, like, now that it's been kind of, I'm approaching in the 2 years, I I do feel my energy like actually coming back, like in a way where I notice it, where I'm like,
Me
oh,
too.
like, you know, the first thing I wanted to do when I finished treatment was go back to work. That was like one of the first things I wanted to do because I wanted to reacclimate. I wanted to meet new friends. I wanted to be like doing something. I wanted to like feel like I'm bringing
Isn't that such a
check.
funny thing? I had the same thing.
It's hard though because when you get in an office,
it's hard
you're like,
to explain that though.
yeah, I mean,
why after you just fought for your life are you worried about sitting in an office again?
I don't know.
Like, what type of like mental sickness is that?
That is a mental
You know what I
sickness
mean?
in
Like,
of
that's
itself.
literally everybody around you being like, oh, like, when do you get to work again?
But you know
when are you
what?
gonna like all this stuff? And you're just like, oh, that's right. Like, now that I'm done, I can like go and do this again. Like, none of that has anything to do with living.
Yeah.
That's like checking a normal box that everybody else does with
I
their
think
life.
like,
You're just like,
for me though, my work is centered around passion,
Yeah.
and even more so after going through treatments and everything. And can I just ask one quick question? Can you see my toes right now or not?
We can see 2 toes.
You guys, it's not okay.
that's literally gonna get you viewers. People love toes.
But anyway, so I basically like, when I was going through treatments, I was like watching a ton of TV. Like I watched Gilmore Girls, which I'd never seen. Fucking love it. Handmaid's Tale, also so dark, but it was great.
But it was a dark time.
It was a dark time.
But it was a dark time.
I just like really ingested a lot of TV, a lot of music. I was actually in this like music program called Lamp, which is Stargate. They're like this producer duo. They've done like some of like the biggest like pop songs.
Mm-hmm.
I applied for their online program and I got in. And so I was going through treatments no one knew. And every week I had to show up and I basically like started making music. And it was like halfway into my treatment is when it started. So like,
You're like, everybody thought I was relaxing.
yeah, I was like, no.
I'm just leveling up
Yeah, exactly.
during treatment.
So there were some
Don't
weeks
worry
where I
about
just
me.
couldn't work, obviously. But
Yeah, of
like,
course.
I think for me, like that time I was like figuring out like, what do you want to do when you get back to work? And like, for me, it was less like, I need to go in an office to prove to everyone that I'm like this human being.
Can do it again.
But for me,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, I have goals that I want to meet now and I want to go do it now.
Exactly. I feel that.
So it was less like,
It's because you said you're gonna.
yeah, exactly.
Just because you said you're gonna, you didn't know if you would get the chance to.
Right, exactly.
So now that you know, like, it's more of like the doing it because you said you would.
Do you remember did you ever have this reaction during COVID where I was like very much following the rules? Like I didn't get COVID until last year in September for the first time ever.
Oh my God, I got COVID during treatment.
That's fucked.
Yeah, I had not one white blood
That's
cell.
so fucked up, bro.
And I was like, oh, great, I'm gonna fucking die.
Yeah, that's
like,
insane.
I don't even have an
Genuinely.
immune system.
That's so fucked up.
During chemo, I got COVID. And I couldn't even go to the hospital because then I was really gonna get sick.
Yeah.
Because I
That was the
system.
one thing that I like genuinely avoided, like the plague, was like being around people, and like my friends and family took it
Never
so
left the
seriously.
house. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do think that like with during COVID, like you'd turn the TV on and like see a bunch of people like in a room, and it was almost like, this is weird. Is this ever going to happen again? Like, did you ever have those moments?
So treatment for me started in 2021. I was
Okay.
like at the end of like COVID, like June, July 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. And I felt like everybody was really hopeless about it. And I was just like, this isn't going to last. Like, I don't know why. Like, it just wasn't in my mind. Like, I was like, this can't last. Like, they can't keep making people do all of this stuff. Like, they can't keep this up. Like, there's
Yeah.
eventually, like, things have to go back to normal because it's
Right.
not sustainable for people to live like this. People will start freaking out.
Well, I mean, there were also people that just were so like completely like tapped into the real world and were like, I
No.
don't give a fuck.
No,
Like,
and so I
Yeah.
hate to say it, but because I was going through cancer, I was one of them.
Yeah.
Like, what I had on my plate was so big, I was completely fucked off.
you know what's crazy?
From
actually,
all of that, like, except the fact that I didn't want to
Yeah.
get sick. I wouldn't leave my house. I
Yeah.
wouldn't go to grocery stores. I wouldn't do any of that. I would only go for treatment, and I would go home to make sure I didn't get sick, but I would never turn on the news. I would never, people would talk
Yeah.
about it. I'd be like, I don't want to fucking hear about it. Like, my life is already in shambles.
Yeah.
I don't need to know about what's going on in the whole
It's
world
just
right
this-
now. Like, shut it.
Yeah, it's just this like desire, I guess, and it feels like this almost alienation, but also this like just full blown desire to like want to like connect to people.
Yeah, and so there was two sides of that for me. I felt that way, but then also while I was going through treatment, because it was like in the middle of COVID,
Yeah.
I had no community. I was not able to have family in my rooms when I was in the hospital. I wasn't allowed to have one person around. It was not like I could be a part of any group. It's not like I could walk around the unit and meet other people who might have had cancer, who might have been my age. Like, there was no support or community for anything going on because of that time. So during that time, the only person who could be around me at that time was one person. And that was it. Like,
can you just, you know, explain very briefly, like, how you found out you're diagnosed, and then who that one person was that you could see? And then also how old you are.
You're so funny. Okay.
I am so funny.
You're so funny. I was 20. I got diagnosed the month of my birthday. So, like, I was technically 21 when I was diagnosed. Yeah. And then I started treatment at 22, which literally just, like, a week or two passed. Like, basically. So, you want me to tell the whole situation? Okay. Yeah. So, I thought my life was completely fine. I moved from San Diego to Los Angeles to move in with my, at that time, fiance, and then we had gotten married, and so he was my husband. So I moved from San Diego to LA to live with him because we had just gotten married.
Did people know that you were married?
Nobody knew. So, like, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't post it on social media. I didn't publicly talk about it. I actually didn't even tell my parents I was getting married until 2 days before, and they were so upset with me. But they still came. They liked the guy that I was getting married to, so it wasn't really like that was the issue. We had a really small COVID wedding. It was just me, him, my dad, family. His family was not around, so they were there, like, on FaceTime. We got married, and I didn't have any friends in the area at this time. This was like 3-4 years ago. And so I was, like, going out to try and do things that were, like, socially acceptable in this time. Yeah. Which was, I was going on a hike. Like, I was going on a run.
And this was COVID.
This was during COVID. So you couldn't, like, do anything socially. Like, I wasn't trying to socially do anything. I was trying to exercise. So I went on a run in Topanga Canyon area in the middle of nowhere, which now I know Stunt Road is known for people speeding and racing. I didn't know this at the time.
Stunt Road.
Stunt Road. Okay. I pulled the biggest stunt of my fucking life on that road.
Yeah, she did.
So I went on a run. I was in this small parking lot. Car came out of nowhere, hit me at 45 miles an hour. My head went through the windshield, flipped over the car 4 times. And I was supposed to be dead on impact. I don't remember any of the impact. I woke up in the air, and I didn't know how. I was, like, flipping, and then I lost consciousness again. A lot of things happened from there to the hospital, but when I got to the hospital, I had a doctor come in and be like, I don't know how you didn't break a bone. We're not really sure how you're alive from how fast the car was going and the situation of how it looks with the accident. Yeah. They had to staple the back of my head because I had glass sticking out of the back of it, and they were going to send me home, but they were like, good thing you made it through the MRI because you have a mass in your chest that's about the size of a softball, and the way it's growing in your chest kind of looks cancerous, but we can't really diagnose that.
They're like, so thanks for being alive. Now you might have cancer.
Here's your paperwork. Go figure that out on your own. It's like, and I was so severely concussed at this time, like, I really couldn't understand what she was even saying to me. I was like, and then, of course, do you have any questions? Oh, my fucking God.
You're like, a lot.
Are you serious? Yeah. Like, I'm 21 years old. I have glass sticking out of the back of my head. You just stapled the back of my head. I have a traumatic brain injury. You might have cancer. Do you have any questions? Yeah. Are you fucking kidding me?
You're like, maybe go find another job, honestly.
Like, who does that? Yeah. Like, I know that this is your job, but do better. Like, I don't know what else to say other than that. So they discharged me that same day, which is like, I could definitely sue for that because I was not okay. But I didn't because I had obviously bigger fish to fry. Then it ended up being cancer. And then I ended up fighting cancer in the thick of COVID.
So what was your diagnosis?
So I had diffuse B-cell non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
What stage?
between stage 2 to 3.
Okay.
But it was in my mediastinum, so it was, the way it was growing was it was growing onto my aortic valve, and it was compressing my lungs, and it was forming onto my heart. So I had a cardiothoracic surgeon come and speak to me, and he was like, there's no way we can do surgery on you. We'll just fucking kill you. You're not going to make it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, great. Thank you. That was awesome. So what are my other options? He's like, the way it's growing on your heart, he's like, there's no survival rate for us to do surgery on you.
Yeah.
But then, of course, once you figure out that it's blood cancer, you know that you can't even do surgery. Like, blood cancer patients don't do surgery.
Right.
Because taking it out doesn't do anything for you. You have to, unless there's certain people who can.
Yeah. Except for the fact that you did get surgery.
So I had to get surgery from something that the mass had damaged in my body.
Right.
From a side effect of having that mass compressing everything in my chest for so long without me knowing.
The difference between...
So the one person who was there was my husband. That's
yeah,
what
that was the
at.
one guy.
Yeah.
But the difference between
Ex-husband.
people
Sorry.
that... Yeah. Bye.
Oh, hell no.
See ya if he's
my-
watching.
Oh, no.
Should we just turn this into a roast?
We totally could.
Let's not. It's we don't give attention to people like that.
Not worth it, but so funny.
But so for people that, you know, don't fully obviously understand like the science behind cancer and the difference between, you know, like you could look at someone like me and someone like Yasmeen and be like, oh, cool, like, you know, really just couple us in as two people that went through
cancer's
a
not
disease.
cancer.
But the thing with
It's
cancer
so
is that
different.
there's so many different kinds. And I
So
think
many different
the
kinds.
only time you really learn that is when you go through it. So obviously, like, I don't even think we had one of the same medications besides the ones that like we had to take to keep our white blood cells stable, and the ones that you didn't even do the one for the ovary medicine.
I didn't have enough time.
So like we don't, you know, we were in very, very different situations. We had very different diagnoses, even though
It's both blood
to
cancer.
someone,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, they both had blood cancer. They both had lymphoma, but no, the difference between Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's is like black and white.
It's so black and white.
It is so different. You know, I think like for me to hear that like you didn't have community during that, like I cannot fathom, because even though there were times, you know, and even as just a normal 20-something-year-old, not cancer aside, everyone.
Cancer aside, not
you
even
don't
having your
feel
friends.
well,
like
it's
your
not even
normal friends.
yeah, I mean it's not even really that as much as I think even as a regular 20-something-year-old, like you're never going to feel completely understood by your parents. So
Yeah.
when you think about
Definitely.
every single person in your life, all of your closest friends, all the people that understand you the most, those people will not get it because those people are not dealing with the same thing as you. So the people that really do matter are the people that get it, you know, and that's why like you and I are like, you know, at this point we're family, and that was from the first time we met, you know what I mean? And it was just like, oh, right off the bat, it's like, okay, you get it. Like we're family. Like you just, you understand me. But aside from that, interestingly enough, and this is another thing, is the community itself is like, it's a lottery. And it's not a fun lottery. It's
I
a
was
fucked up
just
lottery.
about to say,
it's the fucked up
one
lottery.
of the first things that you had like said to me when we had first started talking over Instagram. I'm not
Yeah.
even sure how we found each other. I'd really have to like think back on it. But one of the first things you had said to me, you were like, "Oh my God, this is so refreshing." Like you were like a normal,
that's
regular,
the word.
like fun person.
Yeah.
Like before you had cancer too, and you are like after as well.
But
which
it's-
is so.
It's one of those
hard to
things where it's like
find.
we probably would have met in another universe. Like I'm sure
Yeah, like we
in,
would
like,
have been friends if this didn't happen to
Yeah.
us. I think we still would have been friends regardless of the situation, because like I would
we're
have
just similar
befriended you
people.
anyway.
Yeah, but
exactly.
But we also now have this bond that like goes so far beyond our own mothers, our own fathers, our own siblings, our own best friends.
like this is not
our
like an
partners.
explainable thing.
Like no one can get it unless you've been
No,
through it. And I do
no.
think that like even though like going through illness is so terrible and so difficult, like for me, and I've always been one to like find the needle in the haystack and the positive and the negative. COVID was shitty for everyone. I ended up you know, finding some of my best friends and starting this music blog and, you know, really getting to like tap into the music industry and meeting some people, you know, really amazing people and figuring out I want to be a musician. And I found all of these really incredible things out of such a fucked up situation.
That's so amazing.
Getting diagnosed with cancer was my biggest fear. I've always been so anxious. I've always been a ball of anxiety. It was the most terrible thing you could ever imagine. And I've met some of my best friends, and I've found community, which is something that my entire life I was seeking, but also doing the exact opposite, which is I want to be different. I want everyone to look at me as, you know, just I want to be original. I'm Caroline. I want to do, you know, I want to make art, and I want to say things with my art that are so far beyond the norm, and I want to wear clothes that people aren't wearing. You know, I was on this quest to like be different, but at the end of the day, like I was like, okay, none of that matters. Like what matters is people and community. And so with all that being said, like, how did you get through that situation with the fact that you didn't have that community? Like, what did you do to find your own self or soothe yourself? And
so, to be really honest with you, in that time of my life, I really didn't feel like I had a lot of coping mechanisms. There was so much going on in my treatment journey that I had such a hard time with. I did like reach out to cancer survivor groups. Like I couldn't ever find one that resonated with me.
oh my God.
And
I've heard some horror stories.
Again,
because they'll throw you in a group with people that have I do think there's something to be said for like just, you know, the group that I was a part of that was just people that kind of had similar situations to us. But even that being said, so different, you know.
Well, the ones that I was trying to find like weren't AYA groups though.
They're like 65-year-old pancreatic cancer havers.
Yeah, so like that, but then there was like some AYA people, not everybody was actively doing treatment. So like I was like the only one on the call that was like bald fully. I was like, "Hi guys." I just literally fucking hate the way I look, and I'm the only one. We all have had cancer here, but I'm the only one that's bald. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, already I'm not feeling seen. Already I hate it. I don't even want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
Like, there was just so much, like, going on at that time where, like, I just felt like I couldn't. Also, this is a really big part of my treatment situation that it was so hard for me to talk about it in the first place because one, there wasn't anybody around, but two, the sort of cancer I had made me completely lose my voice.
Right.
To the point where I couldn't, if I was sitting here, you wouldn't be able to hear me. If that trash truck was passing, you wouldn't be able to hear me. If a plane flew over me, you wouldn't be able to hear me. If I was sitting in a restaurant, you wouldn't hear anything I'm saying. So
and you're a talker on top of it.
I am a talker. So that really and I used to sing my whole life. That really crushed my soul.
Yeah.
Like it took away like any like shred of happiness you have, of like any sort of expression you have. Like you lost your hair, you lost your life, you feel like you lost all your social life. Yeah. Let's not go that far. You lost all of your friends because they didn't show up the way that you would have wanted them to, because everybody's fucking 21. They don't know how to show up for their 21-year-old. No one knows how to
show up for a 21 years old.
Exactly. Yeah. So then you just have the small forms of expression that are left, or the things that you have left, which are nothing on your body because everything that you were used to is gone. You don't look like yourself. You don't recognize yourself in the mirror. Then I can't even hear my voice anymore. I can't laugh. I can't hear my sneeze.
So cancer literally took your voice away.
But it took everything, including like one of the last things that I had, like, which was the little joys of life, of like hearing your sneeze, hearing your laugh, being able to sit at a table with your family and be heard. I couldn't even do those things anymore.
So
I would sit there and I would have to be mute. Right. Because I would get so frustrated, Caroline, of having to like, like having to repeat myself. And I used to be the person who like my whole family, everybody who knew me would be like, Yasmeen, shut up. Yeah. Like, because I was so loud.
Me too.
My stepdad used to say I could whisper in a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, I was always way too loud. And then I went from that to one day waking up not having a voice because of cancer, and then it didn't come back. so
how did that process, like, how did you get your voice back to where it is now?
So after treatment was done, they told me that I went into vocal cord paralysis because the mass.
So this was after treatment.
So all of this was happening during treatment, but nobody was taking it serious because they were like, we have bigger fish to fry, right? Like there's a whole
What's the bigger fish?
cancer. Like they
Getting rid of it.
They wanted me to be in remission before like addressing all these other issues, but because all these other issues weren't getting addressed in the time that they were happening, they were getting worse and worse and worse. And like, so along with the swallowing or the voice situation, I also had trouble swallowing like my own spit, food, water, like, and they weren't taking that seriously. They gave me a swallow evaluation, and then they were like, yeah, it's a little fucked up, but like we have bigger fish to fry. So like when you swallow your spit and water, just like tuck your chin a little and then we'll get to it. Can you imagine?
No.
Like I just was like, and of course I'm so overwhelmed dealing with insurance issues, with chemo, like having to do all that stuff. I'm like, okay.
There were so many instances where I heard of people their insurance just not processing that day. And it was either $90,000 out of pocket.
Oh, that didn't happen to me. I would remember that.
Well, each treatment is $90,000 to $120,000.
Yeah, for the one round.
For
and
the
you have
one
to
round.
do like, if you're lucky and you're somebody like my treatment situation, I had to do 6 rounds. That's $600,000.
Yeah.
I was 21. Who has $600,000 at 21 years old? Nobody.
So
what?
If you
like, okay, go die. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
If you
What's my
can't,
option?
so if it's not covered, you basically just have to wait and come back till it is.
But who literally feels like they can wait in that situation?
No one.
We are not in a waiting situation. Nobody has time like that.
Yeah, no.
And with that sort of diagnosis.
I do think, like, again, like, everyone's situation's different. Like, I was in a position where I was diagnosed and I had the opportunity to go freeze my eggs.
I didn't have the time.
Right, exactly. So, like, everyone has these different situations. But that's why I had to get the white blood cell shot right before my treatment, because it would go, you'd get your treatment, it would totally destroy your white blood cell count. You'd come back, have nothing.
Yep.
So there's nothing to work off of because this is essentially making you sick. It's killing everything in your body.
Oh, I remember.
So
I ended up in
what
the
I
hospital
had to
every
do
time.
was I was up here, it would kill it. I'd have to go the day before to bring it back up, get the treatment, it would kill it. Go back the day before treatment, they'd show me. It was like, I think your what is it called, neutrophil count is which is a component of your white blood cell, is supposed to be at, what is it, like between like 5 and 12. Mine was at 0 point.
Oh, I've seen mine like that too.
0.35.
How insanely
Which means that if
paranoid
dust
does it make
hit you in the face,
no, you're just done for.
and
like,
that's why I stayed inside. That's why I was like,
that's why I wouldn't go to grocery stores.
Yeah.
I'm not touching one thing that
no.
somebody else has
No.
touched. Like I refuse.
No.
My situation with me is I would go through my 6 days of treatment. So I would have like the
So you had inpatient.
I did outpatient. I was supposed to do it inpatient, and I kind of like weaseled them to do it outpatient because I just couldn't fathom the week-long hospital visits. So I did outpatient, where I would go pick up a new bag of chemo every day. I was on a 24-hour drip for 6 days straight. So I would have the bag attached to my port for 24 hours, and once the bag would run out, I would have to go back to the clinic and get a new bag, and I'd do that for 6 days straight. So I had chemo dripping into me for 6 days continuously. So prior to that, the first day you can't do it home. They gave me IV Benny. So you get the IV Benny, and then you sit there.
Not that. I kind of enjoyed the Benadryl part.
So I hear such mixed
because
things.
it makes you feel stoned. And
no, see, everybody says that they love IV Benny because it just like knocks you out, but I hated it.
Why?
I felt like I was getting hit by a truck.
Well, it does make you feel like you get hit by a truck, but like that is the thing that shaved my anxiety off.
Really?
In the moment. Yeah.
The IV Benny gave me anxiety.
Really?
Yeah, because I knew I was going to pass out, and I wanted to like, I have this fear of suppressing like memories.
Yeah.
And I know that that's exactly what it does. So like putting you to sleep like that is suppressing the experience, but your body is going through something traumatic. Getting those drugs put into you, they're literally having to put you to sleep and soothe your immune system for a reason. It's better to not remember why, obviously, because you're not feeling it.
Well, there were just so many pieces that like, I think you just forget. Like,
Naturally, yeah.
there's, you know, I look back on that experience as if it was a dream. And I think even nowadays, like when I try to bring it up to friends and, you know, it's just kind of like, first of all, uncomfortable. And second of all, it's almost like, can you believe I went through that? Like, what the fuck? Did that actually
Sometimes
happen?
when I sit there and have to talk about it, like I'm in disbelief that I'm talking about myself.
Yeah, no.
Like I'm sitting there and I explain something and I'm like, no, that didn't happen to me. Like, no, like that
I
just
just
didn't
think
happen.
it
Like,
is, you know, more than anything
denial.
that. But I do think that it's definitely a testament to like our just overall strength as people. And, you know, I know for a fact, not to like diss half the people I know, but like they would
Do
not
it.
be
I'm
able
here for
they
it.
would not be able to rise to the occasion the way that I did. And
Yeah,
I do
definitely
think that
not.
that says something, because I've always been the person that has been so neurotic, and the fact that I was able to be given that kind of test and the way that I dealt with it, like even looking back, I'm like, how the fuck did you do that, you know?
Yeah, I think about my coping mechanisms in that time and the things that I was doing. And I even like my grandma came up to me the other day. She was like, how you used to work out every day when
Yeah.
you were doing treatment. Like, I was so proud of you.
Oh my god,
for
I
doing
didn't do that, but yeah, that's
My
good.
I couldn't physically work out. I just would do yoga. Like I every single day I would wake up and stretch and try and walk and move my body. But anybody who's done REPOCH chemo knows that like you can't like you I couldn't even walk up 2 steps to get to my front door
Yeah.
without feeling like I was legitimately gonna pass out. So like, and doing any sort of movement hurt so bad. So I was really pushing myself to
Yeah.
do it. But there's so many components of all the little things that you go through in a really long, for me, which was like 6 to 8 months of going through chemo or going through treatment that you will never talk about.
Yeah.
The only person who knows is the person who saw.
Yeah.
And it's literally not explainable, but
Yeah.
there's so many of those moments in which everybody's seeing it from the outside, like the people who are seeing what you posted on social media, your friends who are like,
I didn't
they only
even
know
do
what,
that either.
I didn't really do it either
Yeah,
until
no.
after.
Yeah.
But like the people who are like hearing it from you, they will never know the ins and outs of sitting in that hospital for days and weeks and sitting in those clinics and all of those things that like chemo put you through, like putting you back into the hospital, making you sicker than you even were in the first place
Yeah.
before you even started treatment.
Yeah.
The feeling coming out of it and then feeling like, oh my God, I'm starting to feel like myself again, and then getting fucked again.
No, yeah, I mean it's
Every
a
single
cycle
time.
of
With no light at the end of the tunnel.
yeah. I mean it really
Like-
is a cycle of like you feel sick and then you start to feel better and then you just start to feel sick again. Like you
Right
you
when you
do
get a
start
shred
to
of
feel
hope.
better.
Yeah,
Like there's like
yeah.
3 days where you're like, "Oh, I can go for a walk, or I
Right
can
when
watch
you're
a
on
show."
the up and up, you're
or
like, oh wow, like I might have one shred of energy today.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to lay in bed all day today. Like, oh, I can actually look at food today.
Right,
I
exactly.
can smell food today. I
no,
can like
for
maybe
me,
be normal for
I
a
ate
second.
so much. I didn't give a fuck. I literally ate like
I couldn't stomach.
Really?
I couldn't even smell food.
No,
I would
I
throw
could.
up.
I could. I ate so much.
I was on a round the clock nausea medicine and
Dude, that's crazy.
didn't even do much
Oh
for me.
no, I was like, I'm gonna eat whatever the fuck I want.
Oh, I did eat whatever the fuck I wanted, but I just couldn't stomach food because of the treatment.
So I'm curious to hear like what your what's your routine now? Like where are you in terms of like day to day? I mean, you're like what now? You're like almost 3 years out.
Yes. So I'm like 2.5 right now. I'm approaching 3, which is so exciting. It's funny because right when I got past 2, I was like, oh my God. I had never thought about what it was like to get past 2. Like, I guess in my mind, I was like, oh my God, like making it to 2 would be insane.
Yeah.
Then I made it past 2 and I like bawled my eyes out.
Yeah.
Because I was like 6 months past 2 years. And I was like, I didn't even think about 3.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about 4 or 5 and like infinity and beyond after. Like, my brain couldn't conceptualize.
Yeah.
Because everything in the 2 years that took me to get to the 2 years of remission felt like an uphill fucking battle.
Yeah.
Every day. So
Yeah.
I was just like, my brain couldn't wrap my head around the after.
I think
we did it.
a lot of the dealing with the aftermath, as I call it, is kind of really, again, utilizing and tapping into that community. Like, I think that but also respecting the fact that healing is not easy, and you also kind of don't want to just shove it in your face. Like, for me, like, even just sitting here and reflecting and talking to you about it, like, is sending me into a slight, like, panic. But I also am, like, recognizing the fact that, like, that's a normal emotion to feel, you know?
Yeah, because it just feels like, at least I'll speak for myself, I know sometimes it feels like I know I'm doing everything right, and I know that because of the things that have happened to me in my life, I feel a little further behind people my age, but I know if I put the scale out, I'm still doing much better than
and that's another thing, though, is
I'm like, don't do that to yourself.
Yeah.
Because you look at everybody around you, you're like, no. Like, my life is absolutely nothing like them. Don't even start the thing in your head.
But no one's path and no one's situation is comparable to the next. Like, I think that's a big thing living in LA and, like, just being in the age of social media, and, like, for me working in entertainment and, like, just all of those different things. It's like I'm looking at, like, what so-and-so from high school is doing, or so-and-so from college is doing, or whatever. And honestly, like, you know, I can't sit there and compare, because part of me, like, has this jealousy of, like, some of the girls and guys that I know that, like, just have this, like, I guess don't have the desire to work and are not really doing anything. And I'm like, that looks so nice, but, like, that's not me.
It won't be nice for them when they're 35.
Right.
Don't be that jealous.
That is a given. But for me, I'm like, I wouldn't be able, that's not me. I wouldn't be able to wake up every morning and not know what I'm doing next.
So, on that note, I feel like before I had cancer, like, the aftermath of cancer and the recovery of cancer has been very much that question mark that you're talking about there, because I thought I had my whole life figured out right before I was diagnosed with cancer. I had a very clear path.
Yeah.
I was the type to, like, be in the gym 2 hours a day, go to the beach on the weekends. I worked really hard. Like, I was really regimented schedule. I was really, like, that type. You know what I mean? Like, and then once cancer came and kind of, like, fucked up everything in front of me, I had all these plans for my life, and then I realized that anything could happen in any day, and none of them would ever matter anymore.
Yeah.
And then I realized that my plans, I can sit here and make a plan for the rest of my life, and it's just not going to go my way sometimes, even if I plan for it. And so coming out of cancer, you know, before I got diagnosed with cancer, I was in nursing school. So I had to literally drop that program. I thought I was going to be done with chemo. I thought I was done fighting cancer. I got accepted to another program. Wasn't done, and I was told that I still had 50% left of the cancer in my body, and then I had to do radiation. So then I had to drop that school again. And then after doing radiation for 30 days, I literally sat there and was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm like, I just need to not for a second. That whole thing just got, like, disheveled for me. And when I was done, I was like, fuck my plan. Like, I don't know why I even sat here and was trying to plan anything. And I will say to you, ever since, my motivation to have a regimented schedule, to have a normal life, to have, like, a job like everybody else, to do all of these things that I was doing, like going to my nursing job, like, 3 days a week, which is, you know, 72 hours or less than that. Sorry. My math is not mathing today. So you do a lot of hours, like, back to back. Then you have, like, 4 days off. Yeah. So I was working at UCLA. I don't anymore. So, but any nursing job is 12-hour shifts. I do that, and then I have my 4 days off.
So you do that now?
Not as much anymore.
But where is that happening?
So I took a contract at Providence Hospital.
Do you like being in hospitals and seeing people that are sick and helping them?
So there's, like, a piece to that cookie, but let me finish this, and then I'll get into that.
Okay.
So after that, I am so lost in direction because I cannot take anything serious. I just feel like everything is so impermanent that I
felt that
way
too.
I can't commit to anything.
Yeah.
Which is why, like, everybody's like, oh, Yasmeen, you're traveling so much. Oh, Yasmeen's off in Peru again. Oh, Yasmeen's in Ibiza. Oh, Yasmeen's this. Literally, I couldn't take this shit seriously if you, like, paid me to.
Yeah.
Because I just really feel like the minute I lock in and get serious about something, the first thing I think of is the fear that everything's going to get ripped away again.
I listen, I completely can understand like where that
But it's a toxic mindset.
can
Then
come
you can't
from.
build.
But that's something that I think in time you'll slowly kind of find your new normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for me, like, I'm just very patient with myself and I give myself a lot of grace. And what I've done to kind of combat that is really surround myself with energy that makes me feel good, doing things that make me feel good. And also, like, being realistic, you know? Like, I'm like, okay, well, right now, like, you know, I'm on a normal kind of salary. I want to be making way more money one day. Like, you know, there's these thoughts in the back of your mind, or I want to be doing this instead of that.
Exactly.
But I'm also like, give yourself grace. You have a great job. You have amazing coworkers that you love. You have great friends around you. You have an awesome family. You have cute, weird looking pets. You get to wake up in a bedroom that has you know, every little piece of art on the wall, and you have this amazing, you know, just situation that you've built for yourself. Be cool with that.
Yeah.
But also realize that that's also not permanent, and be cool with the fact that things are going to change over time.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard, but, you know, it is a slow process. And it, for me personally, involves going to therapy and starting to meditate and giving myself time to relax. So I think for you, and like being in this kind of moment that you're in, it's very much like giving yourself the time to kind of find that and recognize that peace with the fact that you will end up settling in and you will end up finding your place on the planet. Like you're kind of floating a little bit, and then you're going to slowly ground yourself, you know?
For like years.
Yeah.
I just feel like after getting your life ripped away from you don't feel grounded at all.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think for me though,
everybody copes differently. And you were also working during that time.
I was in therapy, actively finding ways to ground myself and recognize the situation I was in. And
during treatment?
All of it. Yeah.
Oh, I started therapy after treatment. And I've been in therapy for over like 2.5 years now.
Yeah, so I mean, but again, like everyone's different. Everyone has their ways of dealing and coping. And I think like the first step to healing and dealing with it is talking about it and being able to be like, hey, guess what? Like, I'm a little bit like out of body right now. Like, I'm kind of still in this zone of like trying to find my place in the world, and that's totally okay, you know?
Yeah, I mean, after this whole thing was like, I don't even know if nursing's for me anymore.
And guess what? That's totally fine.
Exactly. But then it's like, oh, everybody's like, are you so excited to go back to work? I'm like,
you're like, you want to shut the fuck up?
I was just in a hospital for like 6 months. Like, I'm not really like super excited to go back there, actually. I mean, I was in a way of I was ready to be on the other side of patient care where I started. I was like, can I go back over there now? Because this sucks over here. Like, I don't even want to think about ever being a patient again. Yeah. And so I had my, you know, era of going back and doing that, which is what I said I was going to do. I went right back into work. I started working at the hospital that I was getting treatment at, which was a goal of mine. I was like, which you thought I was literally insane for.
That's fucked up.
I know. It was more like a goal for me. Yeah. I was just like, I want to be on the other side here. And I did that. And then after I felt like I did it, I was there for like a little less than a year. I was like, okay, like I think I'm done being crazy. I think I want to leave. Yeah. So I left. I like nursing. I like the clinical side of nursing. I like interacting with patients every day. You're really making a difference in somebody's life, doing things for them that they can't do for themselves every day. And because of what I've been through, I can really see patient care in a completely different way now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's the special part of your passion in helping people is that there's so many different ways to do that. Exactly. And I think this period of time for you and kind of grounding yourself is also trying to find what that looks like for you, whether that's a one-on-one thing where you're not kind of thrown into a hospital or even talking about it. I mean, Yasmeen has a podcast and also has kind of different methods where you know, it either comes from like nutritional advice or fitness advice or lifestyle advice in general. And like, I think
of advocacy.
Yeah. Like, but at the end of the day, like even as your friend, like, you know, and as something that I need to do myself is like taking your own advice. Like, I think if you start listening to your own voice and hearing the things that you have to say, which I should probably do at some point too, I think you're your own biggest advocate and the way you talk about yourself. And I think that your solution is literally all within, you know?
100%.
And I'm still finding that. And
Yeah.
I think, like, I'm very proud of, like, where I've come. I think that, like, the experience I went through taught me a lot about the anxiety I've had my whole life and the way that I kind of, like, rationalize certain things and the way that I, you know, even just, like, my insecurities and kind of trying to understand where they stem from and my relationship with myself and my family.
You do that.
Yeah, so I do think, and even if it's not cancer, even if it's just a traumatic situation or a loss of a loved one or a losing your job or, you know, just like waking up one day and saying, I don't want to fucking have that career. I want to quit law school and I want to go be a fucking belly dancer in Ibiza. You know what I mean? Like,
Go off.
Yeah, exactly. So I do think that, like, you know, if you're listening to this, if you obviously have dealt with, there's a plethora of things. I think trauma comes in all different shapes and sizes, but I think that those experiences are things that teach us different lessons, including bringing us together and helping us find friends and helping us kind of also understand one another. Yeah, and
more than anything, it gave me a community I, in some ways, never wanted to be a part of. But
Same.
in other ways, I could have lived the rest of my life not being a part of it
Same.
and not relating to it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But in other ways, I don't think that I can't imagine like not having friends like you and like my other friends that I have who have been through cancer in my life.
I mean, it's so special being able to just reach out and knowing that those people get it.
A connection with somebody like that is not explainable to other people who haven't been through something like that.
Yeah.
And the level that you connect with those people is deeper than you can really explain. So
100%. Thank you, Yasmeen, for telling us an extremely unrelatable story.
Of course.
I, you know, really quickly wanted to address the elephant in the room, or the monkey in the room, I should say, which is we're not in our normal set. It's currently 120 degrees out in Los Angeles, and we need some air conditioning, so we decided to film in the back. It's just as hopefully colorful and homey and comfortable as my normal set is.
I was comfy.
Yeah, good. Well, you better
This couch
be.
is nice.
With my fake plants and this monkey, which I just wanted to really quickly talk about. My mom's lovely, lovely, lovely GBF, aka gay best friend, Andrew, who I also call Auntie Andrew, who is one of the best, funniest, most amazing people ever. He's known me since I was a baby. And when I was a baby, I didn't have hair on my head until I was like almost 2 years old. And obviously when you're a baby and you're a baby
Anxiously
Caroline,
touch his hair. Like, oh my God.
When you're a baby Caroline, you need to get some calcium from your mom's boobs to grow and be a strong woman. So Auntie Andrew called me the monkey on the titty. AKA Caroline on her mom's boob. And so I'm the monkey on the titty, everyone. Hey. And when I was going through my treatments, Auntie Andrew sent me a monkey. He has never been on a titty because he's just a stuffed animal, but I just thought it'd be really ironic to have the monkey on the titty with the baby monkey on the grown monkey on the titty, and Yasmeen talking about all of our adventures of
Me, nothing, not related to a monkey or a titty.
Yeah, either or.
Just here.
But yeah, thank you guys for listening and watching, and hopefully, in some way, shape, or form, either relating or completely unrelating to everything we talked about.
I hope it's interesting at the least.
Yeah.
We went through hell. At least it better be interesting.
Yeah.
I hope somebody's like, wow.
Bad date, can't relate, everything is going great. Makeup on my mirror.